Washington is being accused of effectively begging Israel to stand down just as the Iran war explodes, with reports saying US leaders are urging restraint to avoid a wider regional conflagration that could drag American forces even deeper into the conflict. Critics argue that America is secretly afraid of the scale of potential Iranian retaliation, warning that direct Israeli strikes on Iran's core territory could trigger missile salvos, proxy attacks, and escalation risks that Washington does not feel ready to absorb. US officials have reportedly told Israel in clear terms not to launch direct, large-scale attacks on Iran, insisting that any response stay within a narrow scope to preserve diplomatic space and keep the war from spiraling completely out of control. This posture has fueled accusations that America is abandoning its ally at the worst possible moment, as some Israeli voices complain that Washington's caution leaves Israel exposed while Iran and its proxies continue to threaten and strike. Israel, meanwhile, is bracing for what leaders describe as the possibility of a multi-front assault, facing Iran and its proxies on several borders, even as the US hesitates over how far it is willing to go in backing a full-scale Israeli response. The US has reportedly asked Israel not to become directly involved in the escalating confrontation with Iran, urging it to refrain from major direct strikes that could turn a limited clash into a much wider regional conflict. Israeli officials say they are closely tracking the crisis and preparing for multiple scenarios, ranging from continued indirect fire to sudden large-scale attacks, so they can respond quickly if the situation worsens. Details of this revelation were reported by Shafak on July 12, highlighting behind-the-scenes consultations between Washington and Jerusalem over how to manage the latest spike in US-Iran tensions. Israel fears that the fighting could spread onto its own territory, either through direct Iranian missile or drone attacks or via other fronts such as Hezbollah in Lebanon, Gaza factions, or militias in Syria. In response to these concerns, the Israeli military has reinforced air defense readiness and updated operational plans, ensuring that its interception systems, command networks, and crews are on higher alert. As part of this posture, target databases inside Iran have been revised to support potential future strikes, refining priority lists of launch sites, command centers, and critical infrastructure that might be hit if ordered. Officials have stressed that any large-scale Israeli response to a serious attack will be coordinated closely with Washington, reflecting both strategic dependence and a shared desire to manage escalation carefully. According to Shafak, Trump and Netanyahu discussed the escalation in a recent phone call, signaling continued high-level political coordination between the United States and Israel over next steps. In recent days, the United States and Iran have exchanged strikes, including reported US attacks on targets inside Iran that aim to degrade its military capabilities and send a deterrent message. Tehran responded with missile attacks on US military bases in Gulf states and in Jordan, demonstrating its willingness to hit American forces deployed across the region. Both Washington and Tehran have accused each other of violating the June 17 memorandum that had previously brought prior hostilities to a halt, each side claiming the other broke the terms first. This renewed exchange of attacks has sharply raised the risk that what began as a bilateral clash could spill over into a broader regional war, drawing in US allies and Iranian partners across the Middle East. Not just Kuwait and Bahrain, Mujtaba is now unleashing missile fury on Jordan as Iran widens its strikes on US bases in the region. Iran says it has struck US positions in Jordan, claiming Muwafaq Salti Air Base was among the key targets hit. A US base hosting F-15s and F-35s has reportedly come under Iranian ballistic missile fire in the latest round of escalation. Fuel tanks and an ammunition dump at Jordan's Prince Hassan Air Base were reportedly set ablaze in Iran's retaliatory barrage. The IRGC claims a critical FPS strategic radar system at Ahmed al-Jabba Base has been knocked out of action. Iran says its missiles have struck a Patriot air defense battery at the US base in Ali Salem, Kuwait. The IRGC boasts that a US drone command center was crushed in its strike on American facilities in Bahrain. Iran claims it has hit a helicopter maintenance hub and a P-8 hangar in Bahrain, escalating its message to Washington. IRGC statement said, and I quote, "Heroic nation of Iran, your steadfast steps, 135 days and nights of presence on the stage an unprecedented funeral in history, which you and the noble nation of Iraq have made, have surprised the world, encouraged the fighters of Islam, and confused and terrified the great Satan, and he is taking every measure to compensate for this great defeat. Last night, following the operations of the IRGC Navy in stopping 2 offending ships, which had endangered shipping in the Strait of Hormuz by turning off their systems and moving on an illegal route, the US child-killing army, which was the driver of these illegal and dangerous movements, once again revealed its brutality by invading the coastal bases of the armed forces of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Zealous fighters of Islam, in the first stage of response to these aggressions, set fire to several large rocket warehouses and fuel tanks of Prince Hassan Air Base in Jordan with rockets and drones. The evil and war-loving regime of America, which has spent a few times without war and military evil since its establishment, and has not learned from the recent failures in facing the fighters of Islam, and continues its aggression. In response to these evils, in the second stage of their countermeasures, the IRGC's aerospace fighters smashed the important helicopter maintenance and repair centers, the hangar of the P-8 electronic warfare aircraft, and the command and control center of the American child-killing army drones at the American base in Sheikh Isa, Bahrain. We bring to the attention of the honorable people of Iran, the proud fighters of the IRGC Aerospace Force, in the third stage of the retaliatory operation and response to the aggression of the arrogant and aggressive American regime, completely destroyed the fuel tanks and the Patriot air defense system at the American base in Ali Salem, Kuwait, as well as an FPS strategic radar system at the Ahmed Al-Jaber base. Strait of Hormuz is our land, and we will not allow a rebel and child-killing army from the other side of the world to continue its illegal interference in it." Unquote. The IRGC is vowing that its retaliation will continue, warning of more attacks to answer what it calls US aggression. Iran launches a new wave of missiles and drones targeting US military positions across the Middle East, according to Iranian state-linked media. State-linked Iranian outlets report massive retaliatory strikes against US military bases following the latest American attacks. Tehran claims US military bases and naval assets across the region are now under coordinated Iranian attack. Explosions are reported near a US military base in Bahrain, with the Interior Ministry confirming security incidents. Reports claim direct impacts near the US Navy's 5th Fleet headquarters in Bahrain during the latest Iranian operation. Ballistic missiles were reportedly launched from western and central Iran as part of the new wave of attacks. Bahrain activates air raid sirens shortly after Iran launches its latest missile and drone barrage. The Gulf braces for another dangerous escalation as the US-Iran military confrontation continues to intensify. The latest Iranian operation comes after Washington expanded its military strikes across multiple locations inside Iran. US forces expand their military campaign as fresh strikes reportedly hit targets across southern and western Iran. A new wave of attacks is reported across more than a dozen Iranian cities, according to local media reports. Keshem, Bandar Abbas, Bushehr, Avaz, and Abadan are among the locations reportedly targeted in the latest strikes. Iran International said, and I quote, Eskan News Telegram channel reported that the latest wave of attacks targeted a wider range of locations across southern and western Iran than previous strikes. According to the report, the targeted areas include Keshem, Sirik, Bandar Abbas, Jask, Bushehr, Kondab, Bandar Mahahar, Baybahan, Andameshk, Desful, Avaz, Abadan and Khorramshahr. The report could not be independently verified, and neither US nor Iranian authorities have immediately confirmed the full scope of the reported attacks. Unquote. After Iran's retaliatory attacks, the US rejects reports claiming American troops were killed in Kuwait. The latest US strikes appear significantly broader in scope than previous waves of attacks, according to emerging reports.